Relief is in full.
And all dry this evening across central Alabama. Look at that weekend forecast here in just a few minutes.
Hurricane relief is in full effect, and one church is hoping to be a helping hand to those impacted by Hurricane Helene. That story coming up at 10.
And downtown Tuscaloosa will soon get brighter. New additions to Timerson Square. WVUA 23 News at 10 starts right now.
This is WVUA 23 News at 10.
And we're glad you're with us tonight. I'm Jabari Pruitt. In tonight's top story, Hurricane Helene death toll is now at 182, and that number is expected to rise. Helene is the second deadliest storm to hit the U.S. in the last 55 years, only behind Hurricane Katrina in 2005. President Joe Biden ordered up to 1,000 active duty soldiers to deliver aid, critical care, food, water, to the hardest hit communities now, but FEMA is struggling to reach some remote areas and sometimes remain virtually isolated, with most roads and bridges in the region still impassable, with many critical supplies being delivered by airdrop. As of today, officials in Asheville, North Carolina announced they are still working to make contact with at least 29 people who are still unaccounted. And Carrollwood Free Will Baptist Church is asking for people to come out this week to drop off needed items. WVUA 23's Lyric Franklin joins us live. And Lyric, what items are this church asking for?
Jabari, things like generators, snacks, batteries, anything that could help communities impacted by the hurricane. Carrollwood Free Baptist Church in Northport is taking up donations to take to East Tennessee and western North Carolina to help the victims of Hurricane Helene. And Pastor Randall Wright hopes that his church's efforts will help those in need.
I think this really allows us to do what the church is supposed to be doing, helping people in need and giving. I mean, those who have are really supposed to be generous with what they have, and especially for those that are in a terrible situation like those guys are.
The church will be accepting donations in the gymnasium from 5 to 7 Thursday and Friday, and there will be someone at the church Saturday morning from 8 to 12. The church is very excited to see how the community works together.
We're really excited about just being able to see the community come together, whether it's other churches or those that are not affiliated with our church, just really coming together to do something good for people that we don't know or maybe never meet, but it really has some value for us and them. The times now or never.
The church is also accepting monetary donations that will go toward the packaging and transportation of the items.
There is going to be some expenses as it relates to renting trailers and fuel to get all of these supplies there. Fortunately, we're already finding out that the response has already been maybe larger than what we anticipated, so there's going to be some financial needs.
Pastor Randall asks that you do not donate used items, as there may be another opportunity that will allow those items to be donated. Right now, they are focused on basic necessities that are listed on their Facebook page. Many of these communities have been wiped out and need almost everything. So any way you can help is greatly appreciated. Jabari.
Thank you so much. Now, Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott is in with the latest. And Richard, what is the weather looking like as we head into the weekend?
Jabari, pretty warm out there this evening. Right now, 72 at Tuscaloosa. Jasper, 65. Numbers coming down just a bit across our local region. Here's the satellite radar. Skies are clear. It was hot earlier this afternoon. And tomorrow's going to be a hot day, but a really nice start to the morning. We got low 60s at daybreak, but already up to 82 by lunchtime. 87 by 3 o'clock. Notice how those numbers really climbing during the day tomorrow. For the weekend, going to be warm. We'll talk about those numbers here in just a few minutes. Jabari.
Richard, thank you. A U.S. Congresswoman Terry Sewell is giving $850,000 to Miles College. The money will go towards improving public safety resources on campus. It will be used to increase safety lighting on campus, upgrade security cameras, invest in internet-enabled security devices, and to purchase new safety vehicles. Sewell will join Miles College president Friday to make this announcement. Well, a bridge has become a focal point of concern for some local business owners and city leaders in Tuscaloosa. Business owners say the safety of those walking across the bridge is a serious risk. WVUA 23's Callie Cassidy has more.
The bridge on Greensboro Avenue in Tuscaloosa has some business owners concerned about the safety of pedestrians walking on it. The structure has only about 2 to 3 feet of bike lane room and a small raised sidewalk next to it for people to walk. The bridge is located right next to Style Connection Salon. The owner, Johnny Weatherspoon, said the bridge is outdated and needs updating before something bad happens.
Because it's dangerous. There's not a lot of space between the bridge, the sidewalk and the road itself, and it's off the ground and kind of nerves for kids and as well as adults.
Weatherspoon says he has seen many cyclists fall into the road because of how narrow it is and almost get hit. This bridge is a vital part to the Tuscaloosa community, but it has to be safe for residents to use. With the bridge being on a busy road, it means more accidents are likely to happen.
Lumber trucks and 18-wheelers passing by you at high speeds, and you're only maybe about 4 feet away, and that's a little bit dangerous.
Weatherspoon says he has spoken with District 7 Tuscaloosa City Councilman Cassius Lanier about the concerns. WVUA 23 has contacted Councilman Lanier about the problem. Lanier confirmed to us on the phone that he met with business owners about the issues. He says he wanted to speak with city leaders before he goes on camera. He has not returned our calls. Local in Tuscaloosa, Callie Cassidy, WVUA 23 News.
And Timerson Square in downtown Tuscaloosa could get a whole lot brighter. Alabama Power and the Tuscaloosa City Council are not far from a decision on installing and upgrading 20 street lights in the area of 4th Street and 23rd Avenue in downtown Tuscaloosa. Alabama Power wants to brighten the bulbs on 13 current street lights on the square and install 7 new street lights. District 4 Tuscaloosa City Councilman Lee Busby and a server at Jack Brown's Burger Joint agreed that enhancing the lighting on one of the most populated blocks downtown will improve safety.
Less dark, more light, less crime. You usually pick the dark, shadowy places to do the things you shouldn't be doing.
You know, it's harder to see people when it's dark, and it does get kind of dark right here. I mean, there's lights from the bars and everything, but you want to make sure that everything is lit and people can see where they're going and cars can see. So I think right here especially would be beneficial.
Now, the proposal will be presented to the City Council at next week's meeting. Well, communities and campuses across the nation are raising security concerns when it comes to women working in the nightlife. WVUA 23's Jalen Barron spoke with women working in local businesses and their concerns on what precautions are being taken. Jalen, good evening.
Good evening, Jabari. I had the opportunity to talk with numerous women across and around Tuscaloosa about the heightened safety measures put in place and their feelings on working as a female in a college town.
I think it's better to be safe than sorry.
Safety concerns for women on college campuses have prompted heightened security measures at bars and restaurants across Tuscaloosa. This comes after several incidents involving female student safety across college campuses in the U.S., with one of the most notable cases being UGA student Laken Riley. Managers and owners of local establishments in Tuscaloosa have taken female safety of their employees and patrons very seriously within the fall semester, including the Tuscaloosa Police Department.
I mean, we have a very good relationship with law enforcement. They always come in here and eat lunch with us. I mean, we've also had cops who have worked here in the past, like when they were in college. So we have a super close relationship with them, and they're always in here. So if we ever need something, they're like, in a snap of a finger, they're there for us. So that's really nice to have, and we just know that they always have our backs. And
Taylor Payton works at Innisfree, and she says police officers have even taken the time to talk with sororities and organizations across UA's campuses regarding alcohol safety, traveling with a friend or group of people late at night, and knowing your surroundings.
And I always have my people's back, especially the women that work here. I know it's scary. It's scary to have someone get mad at you or get angry and, get defensive about alcohol. And it happens because this is a college town. It's a big, giant football town, and we do have alcohol. So just being there for them and being able to talk to those customers and having that resource in myself, coming from my bar experience, just really helps out as well. Yeah.
For female bartenders and waitresses, sometimes tough situations can take place mid-shift, but for local bar and restaurants like SoCal, Avenue Pub, and Innisfree, the safety of their female staff members takes top priority.
I've had times where I'm uncomfortable and they just get, usually a man to take the table and not a woman if it's something with harassment or something like that.
And there are emergency blue phones located on campus for anyone nearby needing immediate help. UAPD encourages people to walk with friends when it's late at night and knowing the area you're in. You can also call UAPD at 205-348-5454. Jabari?
Jalen, thank you. A run on toilet paper is making it feel like 2020 all over again. How panic buying goods actually creates shortages. And the first and only face-off between Senator J.D. Vance and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, some of the issues they discussed and how they're playing out. Stick around. We're coming right back. And reactions to the port strikes from across the nation have Americans created new shortages. Similar to 2020, people are panic buying toilet paper, but the port strikes have no impact on toilet paper supply. Experts say the fear is unnecessary. The overwhelming majority of U.S. toilet paper comes from domestic factories, so it's most likely to arrive by rail or truck. Well, last night's vice presidential debate was heavy on policy and light on personal attacks. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz stepped onto the debate stage while major stories developed both at home and abroad. Now, both addressed a wide range of issues, including the economy, immigration, health care, and abortion rights. Analysts say the debate is unlikely to change the course of the presidential race. And we're joined by our political analyst, Dr. Josh Bramlett here. We're talking about last night's vice presidential debate. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Now, first of all, just give me your reaction to the vice presidential debate.
From what we've seen in public opinion polls right afterwards, it seems that both candidates helped their ticket. That, to me, would be the main takeaway. Both candidates perform well. I have seen polls that show that Vance performed slightly better, but they both increase their favorability with voters, which ultimately could make voters feel better about the overall presidential ticket because the VP is next in line.
And one thing that I will say, you know, a lot of people were more excited the fact that they were so respectful to each other. Now, what does that say about these two candidates?
It was very surprising, frankly, how civil, friendly, and polite the debate was, and I think that that was a welcome relief for so many viewers at home. The candidates were so polite. They agreed with each other verbally many times. They called each other by their first names, and it was one of the better debates that I can ever remember. Perhaps going back to 2008 with Obama and McCain would be the last one I can remember being that level of civil.
Now, did both candidates, did they get their message out, their points out? Did they do that?
I believe so. I believe that both were articulate. Vance was really articulate in getting his points across, and the debate was able to cover a wide range of issues, even returning to some issues multiple times. And I think that it was really informative for voters. Now, on the flip side, perhaps it being so civil and respectful made it boring for some viewers at home compared to the entertainment that we might be used to. But I think that when watching news clips, people will be able to get concise sound bites on policy.
Do you think there will be a second debate between these two?
Not between the VP candidates, but what's interesting is that the Harris campaign was running an ad during the Alabama-Georgia game challenging former President Trump to a debate. So the debate about that debate happening is ongoing. We could see, but there's usually only one vice presidential debate.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Josh Bramlett. Thank you.
And watching the tropics, got a major hurricane in the Atlantic. Hurricane Kirk, also a brand new tropical storm Leslie. More on your local forecast after the break. Hear my forecast every day on 92.1 The Possum. And start you off live the Algo traffic camera. You're looking at the community of Double Springs on Highway 278 in Winston County. And hey, the weather looking pretty good up there. All dry this evening. No chance for rain for tonight. Leave the umbrellas at home. Not going to need that. We'll go to our Pfeiffer cam at Fayette and check out things live there from the Pfeiffer facility. About 64 now in Fayette. Feeling pretty good outside after that very warm day today. Fayette topping out at 86 this afternoon from Bryant-Denny Stadium. Got the coaches' statues in front of the stadium there. And the Walk of Champions. Temperatures have dropped quite a bit, down to 71 now in Tuscaloosa. Wind is light to calm. Put on Doppler radar, and what you see out there is all ground clutter. There's no rain across central Alabama. In fact, we noticed that ground clutter been fairly extensive over the past several nights across the region. Temperature 72 again in Tuscaloosa. We got 67 in Haydenville. Coleman at 63, the cool spot, and Linden at 68. We'll put on the satellite radar. Clear skies across the region. A great looking night tonight out there. For the kiddos heading to school tomorrow morning, what a nice start to the day. Low 60s during the morning hours, quickly warming up by lunchtime up to 82 and up to 87 by mid-afternoon tomorrow. This is our Futurecast model, put on our model data for tomorrow. And again, tonight dry. During the day tomorrow, also dry. Some fair weather cumulus clouds beginning to puff up in the afternoon hours on Thursday. No rain with that, though. And we'll go into Friday, and some moisture comes in off the Gulf. Some scattered showers a possibility, mainly south of I-20, especially south of U.S. Highway 80 as we go into the day on Friday. Not everybody gets the rain on Friday. The risk of any one spot around 30%, maybe higher odds. Further south you go, and then the weekend looking dry again, but just not a lot of rain for the next 7 days. And again, October is technically the driest month of the year, and we're not going to see much rain at all. In the tropics, Hurricane Kirk, a major hurricane, 125-mile-an-hour winds, a Cat 3. We've got Tropical Storm Leslie in the East Atlantic, and this area we've been watching in the Gulf of Mexico. Good news is model data backing off on any chance of significant development with that feature. Looks like if anything does develop, it will be weak and fairly disorganized. We'll keep an eye on the Gulf of Mexico, obviously, there. Here's our forecast. Got up our 80s for tomorrow and then low 80s on Friday. The risk of a few spotty showers going to the day on Friday. The weekend looking good. It is Talladega race weekend. Going to be hot and sunny during the daytime in the mid 80s, but still pretty nice at night with those low and mid 60s. And then next week, a cold front coming in Jabari for Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll drop into the 70s for highs, and then, hey, some 50s at night. 50s. So that is going to be good.
I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting on it.
And we're in October now, Jabari, so it's not going to be long before we really start seeing some sure enough cold fronts.
Right.
It'll be a little later in the month, but it's coming.
Well, my birthday is next Friday, so therefore I don't want it to be cold. Then afterwards it can get a little cold.
It's probably going to be really nice next Friday, looking at longer range models.
All right. Well, Gary Harris is standing by with a look at what's coming up in sports. Gary, good evening.
Hey, Jabari. Vanderbilt head coach Clark Lee discusses his relationship with Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer that goes back nearly 20 years. And ESPN Game Day host Reese Davis on why all of Alabama's coaches are smart to lean on the success of the football program. WVUA 23 Sports is next. And welcome back to the News at 10. I'm Gary Harris. You may not be aware of it, but Kalen DeBoer and Clark Lee go way back to when DeBoer was the head coach at Sioux Falls and Lee was the linebackers coach at South Dakota State nearly 20 years ago. Now they are both head coaches in the SEC and will be on opposite sidelines on Saturday afternoon in Nashville.
I was at South Dakota State, and that was my first full-time job, so I think we're both still pretty young, if I could say that, but we were certainly young then, and Kalen had already built a great reputation as a head coach, and I used to see him at clinics, and you know, it's been a lot of fun to follow his career because I admire the way he worked his way up through the ranks, and yeah, I mean, he was always someone that stood out as a good person first, and like a really skilled football coach. And you know, I think he's every step along the way he's proven that both of those things to be true. And obviously, off to a great start at Alabama.
And the Crimson Tide practicing this afternoon in shells. That's helmets, shoulder pads, and shorts. Two of the big defensive linemen, Jaheim Otis and Tim Keenan III, working on the sled. And Jalen Milroe, man, not only is he the betting favorite right now for the Heisman Trophy, he's just so at ease, a leader, and a guy that's just relaxed right now. You just see it even on the practice field. Watch the high five of one of the Bama staffers right there. Very good tight end group for Alabama. Maybe a little bit underrated. Robbie Oots is big, physical, and can catch the ball. C.J. Dupree is big, physical, and can catch the ball. And the third tight end you'll see here is Danny Lewis Jr. And we'll close it out with the offensive lineman. Of course, Tyler Booker at guard is an All-American candidate. And here's Chris Kapilovic, the O-line coach, talking about the physical prowess of left tackle Caden Proctor. He's something special, says Kapilovic.
There's not many humans walking this earth as big as him that can move like him. I mean, it's I don't know, man. I've never seen it. And so, and you see, like, he wants to get better. He works every day. He asks questions. He's you know, he's taking coaching, and you see his technique getting him better. And so I really love the trajectory he's on. And man, the sky's the limit for that guy.
Well, as we discussed last night, former Crimson Tide defensive lineman and current Alabama staff member Josh Chapman put rat traps out in the football facility this week to remind the players that the Vanderbilt game has the potential to be a trap game. However, defensive backs coach and defensive coordinator Maurice Linguist said today keeping the approach consistent is the best way to avoid a letdown.
Vanderbilt is the next team on the schedule. We have to know who they are, what they're about, what they do. We got to know the DNA of that team. But as we mentioned last week, going into the Georgia game, it truthfully is about us, our execution, who we are, our standards, meeting the standards and the expectations that we have for ourselves, and trying to go out there and play better and better every single week and improve our game.
Reese Davis, the host of ESPN College Game Day, met with UA communication students last week and then visited with WVUA 23's Jalen Prince, who asked the Alabama grad about the success of the athletic department at UA and how football benefits all sports.
Under the leadership of Greg Byrne, they've become an everything school. I mean, they win championships in a lot of different sports, and they put a lot of emphasis on being excellent and making legends in a variety of sports. And it's, you know, Alabama is always going to be a football school. It's always going to be football first, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think the smartest thing that a lot of the other coaches, from the golf coach to the basketball coaches to, you know, baseball coaches, is they embrace that.
And the Braves season is over. They were eliminated from the playoffs tonight in the National League by the Padres 5-4. We'll be back after this.
And we're back here. Of course, what's final sports here?
Yeah, get ready for another big football Friday. Tomorrow night, the game of the week preview, and it's County High and Hillcrest. They hadn't played in several years. They're going to play Friday night in Northport, and we'll have that preview coming up for you tomorrow night at 5.
Yeah, and County High is my alma mater, so I hope they win.
Yeah, my wife went to Hillcrest, so I can't say a whole lot.
Final weather.
Hey, let's talk about it. We got a high school football we're talking about for Friday night. Not a bad looking forecast. Temperatures in the 70s and still some clouds around, but the risk of rain is really, really low. And the Bama game taking on Vandy in Nashville. It's going to be a warm game. 3:15 kickoff will be in the mid-80s with sunshine. And locally, a few scattered showers on Friday. The weekend looking dry for a race weekend at Talladega. It is going to be mighty warm.
All right, Gary, Richard, thank you. That's it for us. We're back here again tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Until then, have a great night.